Hello, Shivam. Yes, you can ask the question. If you have any question, you can ask me. Usually, if you're looking for a 3D freelance work, so 3D freelance work you can find on Fiverr, and there are a couple of other websites, but most commonly people get the freelance work from Fiverr. But you have to be careful on Fiverr because the some of the work you get is like you have to work more on the project, but you might get paid less. So you have to make sure that your profile is good in order to get uh, like a good amount of money out of it. So you must create a profile which is attractive, and in this way you will get a good freelance work. The companies will pay you much more better if you have a good profile. So there are a couple of other websites too, but they are quite new. So I'm not sure how do they work, but usually Fiverr is the one which is most common. And to create a good profile, do you have to create your own personal work, create more artwork, like maybe sometimes you can do your own characters, you can do on your own interior rooms, you can or on do exterior modeling, you can do interior modelings, just like create from your own thoughts, not specifically for any company. So if you will do that, you will get a good images and use those images as your product, like do a personal work. And for my Instagram account, you can go and search on Instagram. The ID is the_interactive, and you can find that on my me on that. If you're good in modeling, so and good not good in rendering, what you can do is that you can make a light setup, and that light setup you can use for your all other models. There are on online you can find light setup already made, so you can use those, download those, so your work for any kind of work you can use those light setup. So it will work for any product that you have. So it will help you if you're not good in rendering. So you can use outsourced or already created light setup. So there are some websites. I like HDRI is basically you have to set up on your own, but there are already set up lights. To use those already set up lights, everything is set up, so you can use those setup lights. And with that, you can just simply put your work there, and automatically you will get a good output. So there are websites like Free 3D, CG Traders. So you can go to these website and they're already like setup lights. Just download those, just put your work there, render, and that's all. So you don't have to do anything about rendering. Thanks a lot. So I have students joined in now. So we'll start with today's class with like with the Photoshop next lesson. And today we will cover layers and we will learn how we can work on layers in Photoshop. So layers are like very crucial. They are really important because without layers, you cannot create anything in Photoshop. So here what I will do is that I will create a new file in Photoshop without any image or without any layer. And then we will start adding layers to it and we'll start working with the layers. So to create, as you all know, you just have to simply click the create new button from here, or from here, you can also go to file, new, and you will get the same thing. So choose your size from recent or from saved or from any one of these. Or if you don't have a specific size, you can just type over here and it will create a size. So I have here 2963 width, height is 2964. I will use the same size, and the background, I want it to be a white color. Everything, I will keep it as it is. So I'll just press create and I will have this blank window. Now here, as soon you will create any Photoshop file, you will have a background layer. And this background layer is usually empty. And you can, if you're opening an image, for example, if I go to file, open recent, and open any image, so that image is basically a background layer here. Now notice that this image is a JPG image. That means there is no layer in it. But if you're opening a Photoshop file, so maybe if you're working on layers and saved it after working on layers, you might have those layers already here. But this is a JPEG file, so there is no layer already created here. You just have a background layer. So background layer is the first layer that you have. And in any empty window, there is nothing, only the background color that you have defined while creating a new file. So if I will go to file, press new, so background content, I can use any one of these. I can have a black background. I can have a specific color of a background. Like suppose I don't want a white background. I can go to background color, choose any color I want. And if I create, it will create a new file with that background color. Let me close this. Let's go back. Let's come back to here. Now, if you will notice, the background color here is white. And you will see the background written over here is with italics. Always the background is written in italics because it is locked. And here, I cannot do anything. For example, I cannot move or I cannot resize it. Here, everything is white. So let's go to this image because here we do have an image, so we can see if it is working or not. So in 2021 version or the latest version, like 2020 version and maybe 2019 version, if you go and try to move the image, it will not move the image. If you will notice, I'm trying to move the image, it's not moving because it is locked. And if I will try to move it, it will give me an error. And that error it will say is that the currently selected layer is a background layer. You cannot move a background layer or change its stacking order, blending mode, or opacity. These are the changes you cannot do to a background layer. You can draw over it, but you cannot move it or stack its ordering. Stack ordering means if there are a couple of other layers, you cannot move it on the top or on the bottom or in the middle. You cannot change the opacity. You cannot change the blending mode. So if you want to do that, you have to convert this background layer to a normal layer. So as soon as I will do that, it will be converted to a normal layer and you will see now it's not a background anymore. There is no lock option. Now I can freely move it anywhere. I can reduce the opacity of it if I want. So these changes I can do, and I can use a like any sort of a like blending mode over here. So that's what you can do with it. Another way to unlock a layer or converting a background layer to a normal layer, let me undo this, is just by simply clicking this lock button. As soon as I will click the lock button, you will notice that it will be unlocked and it is no longer a background layer. But I usually keep the background layer, maybe in case if I want to use it. And I create always some new layers, and then I add some other images over there and start working around it. Now, to create layers, there are 2 or 3 methods to do that. The first method is to go to the layer option on the top here. And from here, you can go to new and you can choose new layer. Now, there is a new layer option. The shortcut for to create a new layer is Shift Control N. So when you press Shift Control and N on your keyboard, you will get a new layer. However, if you want to create a new layer, same as the background, because whatever new layer you create is always a transparent layer. There's no color on it, there's nothing on it, it's just totally transparent. But if you want to duplicate the background as a new layer, so you can choose a layer from background. For example, if I go here and undo this one, then go to the layer option, new. If I press new, okay, it will ask me what name you want to give it to the layer. So I'll call it maybe uh, work layer or whatever name you want to keep it. So totally up to you. And then what opacity you want, what blending mode you want, and what color of the layer you want. This you can choose any color. It's totally up to you if you want to do that or if you want to keep it as it is. Maybe I'll change its color to blue and then I'll press OK. As soon as I will do that, you can see that I have a blue color and there is a work layer, and you can see there are checkerboards here. Checkerboard indicates that this layer is empty. There is nothing on this layer. If I hide the background layer, you can see it shows checkerboard, which means there is nothing on this layer. However, if you want to create a new layer from the background layer, you can go to the background layer here or any place where you are. You can go to layer, new, layer from background. If you will click on layer from background, it will again ask you the name of the new layer, but some of the options will not be there. So simply what I will do here is that I will just write here PG duplicate, something like that, or any name you want to give it to. And I will press OK. And once you will do that, you can see that the background layer is no longer anymore there. The background layer which was there is now converted to BG duplicate. Okay, so this is one way of doing the new layer. Now, what else we do have in the new layer, in the new option, we have a new group you can create, but I don't want to create a new group here. So I'm more sticking to these two because new can create so many other things, but our main target is to create a new layer or new layer for background. But usually you don't use layer from background, you use layer option. So Control Shift N, if I press, it will create a new layer. You can write the name of the layer and just press, you can press OK. Another way of doing is by pressing create new layer option from bottom. So this is the most common way artists do. They just press this button and they will instantly get the new layer. So as many times I will press it, it will create a new layer. But then you have to rename all of them later on. Okay, like you can say shape 1 or yeah, shape 1 maybe. I will write here shape 1. Here I might write here shape 2. And this one I can have it as shape 3. So I have shape 1, shape 2. And I can change the color of this layer uh, also later on. So other stuff you can do by right clicking it. Okay, like I want a yellow color on it. Maybe I will choose a yellow color for it. Colors, you keep it just for so you can remember what they are actually. So I have maybe gray is uh, this colorful. Okay, so I have layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So this is how we create new layers. A different like number of different ways to create new layers. Now, once you change like once you create the layer, you can rearrange the layers also. But as we don't have anything on the layer, so it will not show us what we are going through. So I'll just go to the shape 1 here, and let's create some shapes here. So I will take this rectangle tool here and make sure uh, to directly create without any issues, I will go to pixels and I will choose pixels over here. So it will create a shape image. Otherwise, it will create a shape path or shape itself, which can be changed later on. But I don't want any one of these. I just want a direct image of a rectangle here, just like a regular normal image. So I will choose pixels because pixels usually creates an image. Color, you can choose any color here. I will choose maybe bluish color. And then I'll create a shape of a rectangle here. You can go to the shape 2 and create another one here. And shape 3, I will create another one. Now I have on shape 1 a different rectangle, shape 2 a different, shape 3 a different one. Now let's do one thing. Let me undo this, Control Z, and let's make all the rectangles with different color. So shape 2, I will make it reddish. Shape 3, I will make greenish. So have blue, red, and green. Now, every layer have its order. How the order works. The layer which is on the bottom is the one which is behind. And the layer that are on the top are the one that are in front. So the back layer, the most bottom layer is shape 1. If I will go to shape 2, you can see it is in the middle of blue rectangle and green rectangle. It is in between of shape 1 and shape 3. So if I will move uh, this red rectangle shape 2 and bring it over shape 1, you can see that it is over the shape 1. The reason is that because it is on top of the layer of shape 1. If I will take the same and move it in front of this layer, you will notice now it is not on top just like it is on the blue one, it is behind. The reason is that because it is under this shape 3 layer. So ordering matters a lot. So you can reorder it, order them as well. For example, I want the red to be on top of these two layers. So I can just grab this layer 2, move it on the top, and you will see this thick blue bar. So whenever you see this thick blue bar, that means that's the new location of the layer. If I will drag it and drop it here, so you will see now the red rectangle layer is basically on top of both of them because now order is changed. It is on top. And you can bring it down, bottom. But now it is behind blue as well, green. So both it's behind both of these two layers. So if I will move here, you can see that it is already behind this blue layer. And if I will go on the top, it is behind this green layer. So this is one way of or like rearranging the layer, reordering the layers. And if I will go here, and if I will move it back to normal, now it is back to where it was before. So very simple way to reorder the layers. Now, most important thing is to rename your layers. Otherwise, if you, because some students, when they start working on Photoshop, they don't rename their layers. They are in habit of keeping the actual names, the names that which are by default layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. So if you're keeping those names, what will happen is that later on, if you want to use or rearrange the layers or reuse the layer or trace them down, you will have difficulties. Because maybe if you have 1,000 layers, how you can check where is your layer where you have the house roof, where is the layer where you have the door, where is the layer which have the model. So name them specifically so that you can easily search them. To easily search them is basically, you just have to go here and search, sorry, you have to like search by just going to the search option, which we will go later on, because I don't want to confuse you at this stage. Okay, so you have here filter options. Maybe all the images, all the text, everything will be shown here. Okay, so there is a like search option. With the help of search option, you can get that uh, uh, there which you are looking for. That's one way. But I don't want to do that here. I just want to keep it as it is. Now, you can edit the layers as well. How? But just by right clicking them, you will get these options. Now, we don't use all of these options. We use a few of the options here. And we'll see which are the most important, like common one that you use. The most common one is basically deleting a layer or duplicate. So you can right click and you can duplicate the layer. So a copy of that layer will be created. So if I will press duplicate layer, it will ask me what name you want. So shape one copy, I'll keep the name as it is and press OK. So you can see now I have two layer with this with the same object on it because it is duplicated. And if I don't want it, I can simply right click it and delete it. And yes. Another way to duplicate is to grab this layer and drop it inside this new layer option, the new layer button. As soon I will drag it here and drop it here, it will do the same thing. It will create a new layer. And if I want to delete it, I can press delete on my keyboard or backspace, or here is this delete button. I can press the delete button and I can press yes. Let's do from the keyboard. I will press no. And let's do from the keyboard. I will just press delete on my keyboard. And without giving me any warning, it will delete it. So from the keyboard, you will not get warning. So if you know what you're doing, do it from the keyboard. But if you are not sure and you need a second thought, so just press here so that it can give you a warning, and then you can decide whether you want to delete it or keep. So this is one way of deleting like the layer. Now you can rearrange, you can edit layers. Other than that, you have opacity of layers and you have blending mode. So first, let's see opacity, which is quite simple. Shape 2 is one in the middle. So if I will move it over shape 1, you can see it is covering shape 1. And I cannot see this shape 1. I cannot see this blue rectangle anymore because shape 2 is on top of it. However, I can turn its opacity down. And what is the opacity? Opacity is basically the transparency. I can lower down the transparency of this shape 2 layer. From where? From the opacity option. So there are a number of ways we can reduce the opacity. You can click on this arrow and you will get the slider, and you can slide it, and you can see that as I'm sliding, it is increasing and decreasing the transparency of it. And I will be able to see what is behind because it is getting transparent, just like a glass. Okay. Another way is if you know how much you want it to be transparent, you can just type the value here, like 60% transparent. I want it to be 60% transparent. So I will write here 60, and then I will press enter. Another way of doing that, I can simply go to the word opacity, the option opacity, and I can click on it, slide it back and forth. And then you can see that it can also work the same way want it to be, want it to do. And apart from that, you can click on this uh, text here, like this value here, which is 100% of the opacity. And you can use your mouse up and down arrow key. Oh, sorry, your keyboard up and down arrow key, and it will do the same thing. So I'm using my keyboard, and it is giving me this option here. So this is another way of doing, like you can change the opacity. Now, the next thing we have is the blending mode. Now, blending mode is here, which is quite advanced. Now, what does the blending mode do? Blending mode blends two images together with a like algorithm. So let's do one thing. Let's create one more, one more new blank window. So I'll just go to create a new one here. Oops, let's close this and go back to file new. I don't want it to be red, so I will choose a white background and I will create, or let's choose a black background, create a new. Now I'll create a new layer here, transparent. I'll take a ellipse this time, and I will create a white shape, and I'll create a circle here. I will call this layer circle. I will create a new layer here, and I will this time make a custom shape, and inside the custom shape I can use a custom uh, flower shape maybe, and then I can flower with a white color on it and move around anywhere. Now both are white, that's why they are overlapping each other, but don't worry, we'll just see what is for what we are looking for. And then I will make a new layer here. This time I will do triangle, white color. Sorry, this time let's not use white color. Let's use a grayish color here. And I will make a rectangle. So different layers, and each layer is basically on a different, like each shape is on a different layer. I will call it triangle. Now, since flower is on top of circle, I will go on the flower layer. But one thing you can do here is that you can hide the layers. Here you can see the eye option, and this eye option indicates that these are visible. If I click on any eye of any layer, that layer will be hidden. Now I cannot see this layer. At the same time, I can lock the layer by clicking this lock button. So if I click it, you can see it is locked. And if I will try to move this layer, I will not be able to move it. Photoshop will give me an error. It will say could not use the move tool because the layer is locked. So I cannot do that. I just have to unlock it by just clicking this lock button again, and it will be unlocked. But in this case, I just want to hide it. So I can work on the flower. And later on, we will turn this on. Now in the flower, if I will go back here, there are different kind of blending mode. First one here is normal, which is actually normal, no blending mode, you can say. Then we have dissolve. Now, dissolve, if you will go, you might not see the result, but if I zoom in by just right clicking here, 100% zoom, you can see that the edges are basically kind of dissolving, like it's like a kind of powdered, like there is a salt on the table. So it's like that. If I will go from dissolve to normal again, you can see that the edges of the flower is are smooth. As soon as I will go to this dissolve, you can see they are dissolving. So normal dissolve. So you have this difference. What does the dissolve do? It creates a sort of a like pepper-like feeling to it. This is when you want to blend two items that looks like they are changing from one shape, like they are mixing together or something like that. Okay, so that's what you can do with this dissolve option here when you want to dissolve or like blend two different objects together. Other than that, we have here darken, which will not work right now because we have a black and white images. So we will do on the color. But let's go to the other parts here. Down here. Okay, so we'll start. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's make it normal. Turn on the triangle here. Okay, now in the triangle, let's zoom out. Okay, a little bit I'll zoom in. Now triangle here is on the normal blending mode at this spot. So if I will go to normal, you can see that I will not have anything here. Okay, dissolve because it is on the border itself. If I zoom in, then you will see what the result is basically. So now you can see it clearly. But usually, uh, dissolve works better on images that are blurred. So let's do an example here. Don't worry about this blur option because we will cover this in our later classes. Just right now, I'm demonstrating the dissolve. Let's make this more blurry. So if you will notice that the edges here are blurred because I have used the blur option over here. Now, if I will go to blending mode and choose dissolve, now you can clearly see how dissolve looks. Okay, so this is how the dissolve works. Dissolve works better on blurred object or object that have a blending sort of edges. Okay, so let's undo till we get back our normal triangle. Now let's see for darken. Now what does the darken do actually? Darken, it keeps the dark area much more of transparent. Okay, because right now we have a black background. Let's make another layer, drop a different color there, and let's see what happens. So now you can see the uh, triangle there. Okay. Now, if your background is dark, so that object, especially if it is black, so the object is not visible in that black area. And if it is white, okay, for example, let's make this white instead of black. Okay, so you can clearly see it. It is there. It is like it's actually there. Nothing happened. But if it is on a black background, nothing shows. So the dark value is gone on a dark background if you're using a dark like darken blending mode, and the one which is basically white area, it is showing there. So you can see that the flower and the circle basically are white. So the triangle is showing only in the white area, which is brighter, and the one that is black, it's not showing at all. But if it is opposite, it will show. Other than that, we have multiply. Now, multiply, what it do is that it multiplies the color. Whatever color value is, it will make that color value twice, like multiply it. So if this rectangle, for example, if I will make another shape over here, but not with a gray color, with some sort of a color, and turn that into multiply. So you can see that normally you can see the color here red in the white area, also in the black area, but as soon it will become multiplied. So in the white area, it is as usual same it was in normal, but in darker area, it is multiplied and become more darker. So it's not showing on the dark because it has become more darker. On the gray, it is becoming more reddish, more maroonish because it is multiplying. So it duplicates the color of it. So basically, it is good when you're creating a shadow sort of an effect. So you can apply this blending mode on the shadow. So use of blending mode is basically when you're blending two different layers, when you do compositing. So when we will start the compositing class, so we will learn this compositing or this more and more about like these blendings more and more. Apart from that, we have color burn. What will color burn will do of whatever is dark and whatever is bright, it will burn it more and it will go completely off the screen. Now, if you will see that the area that is completely white is not shown and the area which is completely black is not shown, but it is shown wherever you see a color that is basically neutral. So on gray, it will look like this. And if you have a different sort of a color of a background, like suppose if I will make a green shape here, okay, so you can see that it is on a green area also, okay, so you can see it on this green like green area as well, but it is slightly more burned because green value is more like more stronger than the gray value, so you will have a different result. Let me hide this. And if you have a white background, the result will be same because on both black and white, this doesn't show. Now let's move to linear burn. Now linear burn is same like a burn, but linear burn does not show its color value on dark area, but it do show it on the brighter area. So now if I will turn on my um, the green like ellipse, so you can see the results is same. Only difference is that it do show on whiter area, but it do not show on the darker area. So dark color is basically it's same on all the colors except the black. It does not show anything on the black, and black it's completely invisible. If I turn on this green ellipse here, so you can see that it is showing on the green as well. But whatever is black, it will never show on that. Whatever is dark, like black, will never show on that. So that's what the darker color will do. So now we are done with this color dark modes. Now we will move to color light modes. These are the light modes. Now lighten. Lighten will not show any color on white area. It will only show 100% color on the black area. So our background is black. So you can see this triangle is visible only in the black area. However, gray is what? Gray is 50% dark, 50% bright, 50% black, 50% white. So here you can see 50% red. And if I will turn on the green, so you can see that it will not show like a green, like a 50% red, what it is doing is that that 50% red is blending with green. Like when you take a red and when you take like yellow, so when you blend them together, you get a green color. So that sort of color you are having it. So it is subtracting red from green, and you're getting yellow. Okay, think about it. If you have a green color and if you have a red color, and when you mix green and red, uh, sorry, if you have a yellow color and if you have a red color, if you mix red and yellow color together, so what sort of color you have, that that have some percentage. So it's like mathematical calculation here. So uh, like that's how you will get this like color basically. Now let's go to the next one. Basically blue, I think blue and yellow makes a green, a green, but here like there is some mathematical calculation that you're getting this yellow. Let me hide the screen for now. Let's go to the screen. Okay, now screen mode, what it will do the same thing, but if I will turn on the green, okay, it is same as on the green as well. So if you will see lighten and screen, both apparently looks same, but in the back end, the effect of the lighten is more subtle, and effect of screen is more direct. It's more like basically prominent. So that's like the difference between lighten and uh, screen. So let's hide this. So anything that you want to show on a black area, okay, so you will like use the screen mode. So I'm using the screen mode here. Now another thing let's do, let's make this one normal again, this rectangle. Let me turn on this. Let me make a new layer on top of this red layer, and I will make a black circle here. And on this black circle, I will make a uh, sort of a triangle here. Okay. And this triangle I will make a white triangle. Okay. Now if you will notice, the shape is basically black circle and a white triangle both at on the same image. Now if I will go back here in the normal, turn on the lighten, so you can see the black is gone. Okay, because lighten, what it will do, it will remove any black from it, and it will keep only the bright colors. Same thing is with the screen. Okay, but let's do one more thing. Let's make another one, but this time let me make a circle. On the same circle, I will create a triangle, but this time I will create a triangle with a different color. Now, if I will move it and just like this, if I will go to the lighten, sorry, lighten here, so you can see that, as I told you before, the black will be gone and it will show me on only the colored part. So if I'm moving my shape over here in front of the red, you will see the color is white, because this is how the blue will react with red. But if I will go to green, it will react completely different, and you will have a sort of a different like result. On blue, on black, it will be a different result. On gray, it will be different result. So this is how the lighten will react when we have a colored triangle. Now, if I will go to screen, and you will notice screen have same effect, but the color mix is little different. So let's zoom in and lighten. Just notice how the colors are. Screen, how the colors are. Screen little bit brighter, lighten little bit darker. So, so there is a minor difference here. Let me hide this. Now, next we have color dodge. Now, color dodge, what actually do is that it removes all the black from the image, okay, and it will keep only the bright part. But that bright part will not show on the darker background, which is black itself. So it will not show on the bright, black background. It will only show on the bright backgrounds. And white, it is not showing over white because white over white will not show, obviously. But if I will move over gray, it will show. If I'm moving on over green, it is showing, but on red, it is not showing because it will not show on primary colors. Okay. So it will only show on the mixed sort of colors. So what if I have a 100% yellow background here? Okay, I think this is not 100% yellow, but let's try. Let's see. So now you can see that if I'm moving over here, you cannot see it on this yellow because it is 100% yellow, and yellow is a primary color. So it will not show over any sort of a primary color dodge. Now let's go to linear dodge. Now linear dodge will show on the primary color as well, and on the like on the bright color as well, but it will remove, and it will also show on the darker background as well. But from the image itself, it will remove anything which is black, like the black circle. It is now removed. Like normally it is like that. With color linear dodge, it will remove that. Okay, and let's go back to normal. Let's do the same thing with this one, but let's see how it reacts if we have a colored square. So on the darker area, it will remove the whole like circle from here, but it will show the blue like a triangle. But if I will move to the color area, so on the primary color, it will show white, but on the other, it will show basically with some sort of a transparency. Okay, so on primary, completely white. Okay, and other areas, it will be just a like a transparency or sort of. So let's normal back again. Lighter color is basically for colored objects. So let's try the lighter color on this one. So here I will make it lighter color, and you can see that anything that is 100% primary, it will not show on that. Okay, for example here, for some reason, I think the one that reacts with it, like a yellow, maybe a reaction is also mattered. So you can notice that how it is showing in this area, how it is showing in this area. So this is how you will get the result. Now go back here in this one, which is this. And now let's go to the overlay. Now what does the overlay do? Overlay will keep the darker area unlike these. Okay? Because here you will notice that it removes the darker background, and this This one remove the brighter background. So you can see that. So overlay, what it do is that it will keep the bright and it will keep the dark. And it will do some sort of a calculation with the help of it, and then it will create some sort of a blending with the opacity and that sort of thing. So you can see, still you can see the darker areas and you can see the brighter areas, but it is reacting differently on different colors. So when you want to do some sort of a blending and and you don't want to use opacity, so overlay will be a good option. Soft will be same like overlay, but it will be a softer result. Hard light, what hard light will do, it works better on um, colored objects. So if I will turn this to hard light, so you can see that the darker is not affected at all, but the one which is colored, it is showing as a different sort of a blending. Okay, hard light, it's basically like if you know, like a tinted glass, the see-through glass where you can see through. That's what it is used here. Okay, like that sort of a uh, effect is used. Now, apart from this, we have vivid lighting. This also works with your colored. But let's see one more thing. What it do is that it make it transparent, the whiter area, I think. But it also depends on the color to color. Like here, so you can see that at this stage, I don't have any color. It's gray. But as soon as I move this, that gray color is changing bluish. So what was the original color of this image? This blue. So when I go to the vivid light, so that blue is now affecting the gray and it is making this gray blue as well. Can you see that? That's how it works. So let's see how will be the result if we have black and white image here, vivid light. So you can see that nothing changes. Usually it works more better on the color. So next we have the linear light. So linear light will also not work on the black and white. Let's change this to linear light. So it's basically a different sort of a calculation. So whatever items are colored, okay, they have a different sort of opacity turned down, or it's colored down, or like it's colored like turned down. And let's see what happens if we go on a whiter part, like a white part. On the white part, it turns the white part to exactly the same color that is of this original image. So the original image is like bluish. So all the white will turn to that uh, like that blue color. If I will go to the gray, it will do the same thing, just like vivid lighting. But vivid lighting uh, have a different reaction on the color objects. Like if I will go to vivid, so you can see the colored object kind of looks like as it is. But in linear light, the colored objects have like a mix of the original color, which is the blue, and their color, which is the red, the yellow, and green. So basically, quite a good sort of like way of blending together. Then we have pin light. So pin light basically will not have any effect on gray sort of colors or colors that are faded or not too prominent, but the ones that are brighter like yellow, it will have some effect on it. So it will only work on, it will have a little bit of like, as much whiter it will be, it will show the original color. And as it will become less brighter or less colorful, it will have a different effect. So you can see here on red, on white, it is completely bluish, the original color. On yellow, it is bit a mix of a blue and yellow, and then red, a little bit more mix of that, but more it's a like a how two colors are reacting with each reacts when they are mixed together. So pin light, why it is called pin light? Because it is derived from the older cameras. So if you know, the old cameras used pinholes. So pinholes allow light to enter, and those light were known as pin lights. Then let's go back here, and we have hard mix. Now hard mix is quite interesting here. It creates a great like a completely different sort of result. If I will move it around, so you will notice that the dark background, which is the black circle here, is not shown on the brighter images. Like a white circle, wherever we have white, it is not showing on that. Black, obviously, black over black will not show anything. But let's talk about the color. So on a if it is 100% black, so it will show opposite color. Yellow, it will show red. On red, it is not showing anything. On green, also it's not showing anything. It's basically on the also based on the brightness of the color. Now we have difference. Now difference quite works when we have black and white image. So let's go to the black and white image here and check the difference here first. Difference will bring the opposite color. The black background here is now turned in transparent. Okay, so it will not show anything that is black, but it will show anything that is white. So opposite of, let's go here. Opposite of white is what? Black. So it will be a difference here. Difference means like what like the opposite of white will become black. Opposite of yellow will be blue. Okay. Opposite of red, because this is not, maybe it's like there is some other color mixed with it, so it will show the opposite of this. If I will go here and turn on color wheel here, so you can see this color here. So the opposite of this red you can see is this. So it's showing the yellow, like this blue over here. Opposite of this yellow is bluish, this blue, so it is showing this blue over here. Opposite of this green is, you can see this purplish, so it is showing this purple here. And opposite of white is basically the black, so it is showing black here. Grayish opposite is basically something, maybe this color, so it is showing the color here. So difference shows opposite colors. Now if whatever. Now I will turn this to exclusion. Now exclusion basically works well with the color, because what it do, it excludes different sort of color mix. So let me go back here and use the exclusion here. Exclusion will have a color exclusion value. So the original color of this triangle was blue. So it is excluding the colors, like it's subtracting red from blue, so you will have white, subtracting a yellow from blue, so you will have purple. So doing like subtraction sort of thing. So subtract is actual subtraction, which is basically completely uh, subtracting out the colors here. So let's do subtract with the white. We'll get more idea here. So subtract, what it will do actually is that, what was the background color, or like background here? Black. And what was the color of this triangle? Was white. So what it did, it removed the black, and whatever was white has become black. So that's actually what the subtract will do. And there will be no such reaction here on the background. But if it is a colored object itself, so maybe you will have a different result. Okay. Now, apart from subtract, we have divide. Divide is quite something that is a little bit tricky. So usually you will have like unpredicted results most of the time when you have the divide option. So you can see how the divide looks with the blue triangle, and you can see how the divide looks with the white triangle. So different sort of. Now hue, what it will do is that it will change the color itself. Like the whole thing will act as a shape. Now, no matter that there is a black background, white triangle, it's taking the whole thing and as they are black and white, it is turning different hues on the background. So things are becoming black and white as well. So what if we have a colored object here, and what's the hue value? So you can see that whole shape. If it is black or white, it will turn anything that with behind black and white. If it is well, like a bluish circle, anything behind will become blue shaded. So this is what you actually do. Then let's go back here. Let's see saturation. So saturation is basically black and white sort of thing. It turns anything black and white. But if you have a colored object, so you can see anything which is white will remain same, but anything which is black will be black and white. Now, colored, so it's mostly like a hue, but you can see it also affects the gray, like gray objects, because the hue here, it does not affect the gray area. If I go to gray area, it will not show on the gray area. But uh, but if I will go to color, it will affect the gray area also. Now, next thing we have here is the luminosity. It works with the light. So whatever is black will remain the black, but whatever is a color, it will increase the background image brighter. But let's see if we have a black and white image here. This one, let's. So black and white will not have any sort of a effect here. Mostly effect you will see is with the color image. So here you can see how the blue is reacting with the background. So I hope you have understood about all these blending modes. And this is what we have learned so far about the layers. Next class, we will continue layers from where we have stopped. So we have stopped at uh, the layer blending modes. Next class, we will learn how we can link the layers, how we can apply layer styles, how we can flatten the layers, how we can do layer like compositing, and how we can duplicate and align the layers, and how we can make layer groups. So that's we will continue in our next class. So for this class, do you have any like question? Is everything clear? Anyone who have question? Okay, then we'll continue the layers in from the next class. So I will move to Blackboard now, so we can do the official attendance on the Blackboard. Okay, so let's meet on Blackboard.